So welcome everybody to everything that is around permissionless innovation and trying to enable much more stronger community to build on top of like existing technology, but also like trying to build further and kind of like rely on what really Web3 is about. Let's get it started. So welcome builder. How many of you guys are developers in the room? So I can fine-tune my talk. Okay, sounds good. So my name is Francesco for the people that doesn't know me. This is a backstage picture from a couple of months ago in Denver. Yeah, I've been leading a bunch of like developer activations. Yeah, I'm excited about Snaps. And since we launched back in, was in permissionless last year, we were running like a cool, yeah, a lot of different updates, especially like for people that went around the stage. And yeah, today I'm doing a bunch of things. If you are a chess player, feel free also like to chime in later. I'm happy to also like play. And let's get it started. So I will not bore you about why kind of like our system. Why do we need a paradigm shift? Why we are like the products? Why we're always sharing data for free? Like there are different things. I want to actually start directly through because we don't have much time, and why we need and what are some pillars and principles for being and building better products today. So user-owned account. So we want to give users complete control of what they are building today, and most important, like you want to also not have siloed between different ecosystems. So full interoperability, and even like users, and we heard about the fireside chat before, but we want to also give users a much more abstracted way to make things. And in order to do that, one big principle is definitely like trying to make those silos interoperable and trying to have people actually like speaking with other ecosystem. Big second is accessible interface. So you want to have full transparency and have comprehensible side requests, right? You want to understand what exactly is happening, and you understand how you can either revoke access or do specific like transaction. Explicit request, that's also like a big one, right? So you want to have not just a fully transparent way, but also like you want to give as many information to users for having and building like a fully decisive decision, right? And we see that with different like snaps today, but a lot of time like you want to also understand if you are interacting with malicious account, you want to get flagged if something is happening, and this is basically what's happening with specific snaps. This is one of my favorite one, right? That is not really happening in different product today in Web 2, but you want to also be able to revoke access all the time. You want to also understand, okay, this is something I can do in any time, and mostly important, like I just want to like completely lock out myself for like specific things. And I think especially when we're speaking about Chrome, not specific like browsers, but browser accessibility is also sometimes very very difficult, and for the normal users, sometimes like you never really know what you're giving access, both automatically and manually. And then you want to also share progressively, right? This is a journey. We are not here for the result, but most important, like we want to build fully a modular system that you can extend. And also, like from the user side, you want to be able to adapt and add more things on top. It's a learning path. So, kind of recap, right? You want to build for a community and for being fully interoperable. I really like this, back in the days, this NFT of the fox, by the way. You want to also like start making things that people love and they understand. They have full kind of like information of what's going on, and you want to obviously build for extensivity. I will speak a little bit about later on trust and attestation, because that's something super exciting about, especially like the Snaps approval process. And now we kind of recap, right? And I just want to say, how is the future of wallet will look like, right? So I don't have an answer to that. I know how the future of wallets will not look, right? So PvP, obviously, we will not have something specific. One size fits all. I think like this is one concept that I'm trying to always to advocate for. We are seeing much more customized journey around users. You always see users that are more focused on DeFi use case, more people more focused on gaming, so they're requiring notification. People that are more focused on specific like use case or privacy aware. So I think like this is one big part. Like, and you cannot keep up with this innovation, with this feedback of the community, with this request, and most important, with all the how do you say, like all the requests from the users. Like obviously they're not telling you what people want, but you always like need to be there for the community. And that's kind of the third part, and this is also like why everything started back in the days, because like we are building things in the company, and and we can't all the time know what's the best, how to prioritize our roadmap. That's why like we ask ourselves, okay, how we can build a more expandable way to maintain this innovation speed, and and in the same time having kind of like a standardization of like builders and developers in the ecosystem to build and further advance the technology stack that we have today. So to build a universal web, we need to start with some of the principles. So just to make it short, at front is the users, as we mentioned before. We want to always have the trust both on the user side and on the developer side, right? Because as we know, trustless system trust users. And then this is one also like that I like is also like you want to make sure that you start the path to decentralization. We're all about decentralizing products. Today, obviously, is about those narrative around snaps, but I don't know if you guys know, in Fura with DIN, it's also like a quite interesting like democratization of like the RPC provider there is around today. And fourth, at the end of the day, why we're here, we want to empower a community, we want to empower users to enabling more in the right ways, right? So that we can actually start a full modular kind of like ecosystem where people can build on top, but I can also appreciate the fact that everything is more transparent, consent is king, and you are able to actually like request accesses or even like not explicitly like revoke those accesses. Okay, basically what we're speaking about. This is all about permissionless innovation and enabling users and developers to build a better future. It's all about snaps, right? I don't know how many of you guys build a snap for the developer that raised their hand before. Raise your hand. Okay, some people. Oh, the Idris guys, so super cool. How many of you guys are actually, as users, using daily some snap? Okay, cool. Okay, a couple of people. Yeah, daily is actually quite interesting. Cool. So for anybody that doesn't know what snaps are basically like add-ons of what the extension is doing today, right? Think about different use case from like non-EVM compatible snap to like notification or like account transaction snap. So everything is all about adding a functionality on top of what the extension does today. And there are a bunch of like different like verticals, right? Like interoperability is one of my favorite one. I don't know this buzz that happens all about like BTC, like MetaMask adding BTC like integration. But guys, this has always been there since we launched Snap. So basically, like you can install, or like a couple of clicks, you can install the BTC Snap. You can actually like transact natively with BTC. Same with Solana. Same with Cosmos. It's actually quite cool. And this is the interoperability Snap category. And then we have different ones, right? From transactionist type to notification for like gamer or like for specific event triggers. I'm also like super interested on AA, MPC, and account recovery Snap. And right now, basically, like there are a lot of Snap being developed around the community, and the process is always like you're building a first Snap on Flask, is the canary version of MetaMask, and for like the post-launch, basically like the we have an allowed list of 50 plus Snap on these categories, right? We are adding more Snaps, and that's where also this kind of attestation is playing. Cool. So just quickly, like two things, because we get this question quite a lot. Security-wise, snaps are fully isolated. Those are NPM packages. And everything that the snap is doing has a fully transparent access versus like revoke access, right? So you as a user will transparently see what's going on. This is an example of a security snap called Wallet Guard Snap. And basically, like, apart seeing exactly, this is like the installation part, right? But apart seeing what's happening, you know who is building a snap, you have the repo to basically check and DD your code, you know the author, and you also know which permission has been requested, and you can see that like this example, even accessing the internet is being part of like the transparency process is actually quite interesting. I definitely like recommend everybody to check out. I'm using like daily a specific security snap for flagging me like if I'm randomly like you know, interacting with malicious content or even signing transactions I should not sign. Cool, so self-custodials, snaps living in your wallet, and basically like it's important that you are able to both revoke accesses and add any snap that you want at any time, okay? For the users, and if you guys want to check it out, this is a QR code for specific, like, you have all the list of these 50 plus category of snaps. We are adding a bunch of like new categories that we're announcing soon. That's also like quite interesting. But the long story short is that a lot of people are using it, and a lot of developers are extending their functionality, like the functionality of the wallet, with their tech stack. The cool thing is that if you want to integrate or if you want to leverage your even like your specific like tech that you're building on, you can actually build a snap and basically like benefiting on all the ecosystem. For the developer out there, we started back in the days you know, iterating in hackathons. But basically, like what happens right now, we have a fully snap builder kind of like route. You can check out docs. We have a wish list. You can also like give specific like GitHub discussion inputs. And yeah, it's actually getting quite straightforward, right? And we're always like able to iterate around you know, around hackathons through bounties, but also like we're very accessible for anybody that want to try to build their own snap. And we have also like some snap example that you can take the repo, fork it, and build on top of that. Cool, so that said, we kind of like cover different things, right? But I want to also like make sure that everybody understand here that building a cool technology is not enough, right? Obviously, I wrote that slide yesterday, thinking about this a lot, because what basically is happening right now is that everybody's building different technology. Yes, it's great, but also like we need to really understand that it's about building an ecosystem is about also like be accessible to builders and users, but most important also like not underestimate the power of like this developer ecosystem. So building a developer ecosystem is key, but most important also like sometimes, and I don't know how many DevRels there are in the room, because it's also quite interesting for everybody is looking at this recording. We often speak about kind of like different languages around developer activations, right? And basically I thought about this like last year, and I started to develop different frameworks to speak about kind of the same language, the same activation, so that we can actually think about and debate metrics, ROI, and kind of like developer ecosystem ROIs, right? So basically, based on that, I will show two main frameworks that I see I have 5 minutes more, and this kind of like the things that I was working on post-NAP. I don't know if many of you guys remember this Maslow hierarchy of needs. Raise maybe your hand. Basically, this is quite straightforward. I started back, I don't know, 10 years ago. But basically, then I asked myself how we can actually use that and kind of translate in a builder hierarchy of needs. And basically, that's what I did. I built this Francesco hierarchy of builder needs. And I will not deep dive on this, but the long story short is there are maybe 5 levels. And you know, sometimes around like DevRels or even like PMs, we're speaking about different activation. And this is kind of the thing that we were thinking about. There are kind of the low-hanging fruit and the basic to be, you know, to go up in order to the next level. So things like, you know, like being aware about specific like ecosystem events, but most important also have your docs on place, have your tutorials on place, have specific kind of like 10 minutes tutorial on embedded on docs. And then you can actually build on top of that. I'm very passionate about basically the second, that is in this one is the fourth. It's all about building this kind of safe space for developer. So I definitely believe that developers are not interested directly in the technology. They're interested in actually like the use case and building on top of what is about. And kind of like the same as we speak. I don't know if you've been in some activation that we started called like Builder Nights. But basically like this was a very verticalized meetup. that was very intended to give the most important information around a specific topic. And we started like a 437 meetup for the people in AA. We also started back in the days the 437 Mafia. I don't know if you guys want to be added, but let us know. And so things are going well, right? And the lesson learned here was, even before trying to bring your product first in face of developers, you wanna drive a narrative that is more kind of like a vertical and use case focus. So this is like a paper that kind of I wrote about that, and it's quite interesting because it's going deep down on those 5 principles and 5 pillars. Cool. So what we kind of learned today, right? So we want to focus on education and curiosity. We want to also make different ways and not trying to avoid the traditional marketing, but kind of like understanding what are the benefits and how we can leverage those specific things. And also one thing that we learned, and especially for the Snaps journey, was you need to iterate, and we really leverage, for example, hackathons to start giving different bounties on different features. I remember back in the days we were in ETH Lisbon, and we were kind of presenting this transaction insights API with the Snap, and then we went back home and we reiterate. And after 2 months, we came back with new bounties, and this also was a good way to show that we are actually getting feedbacks in-house and bringing things back. This is the second framework, and I think I have a couple of minutes left for some questions. But basically, speaking a lot with players in the ecosystem, we're always speaking about those product-specific conversion, right? The second part here, and we're speaking about this is not product-specific, right? That's why it's kind of like an anonymized product-specific funnel. And a lot of time, we are underestimating, or we're just not valuing enough this kind of first part, the value-driven onboarding, right? So what does it mean? Basically, we want to create a passionate ecosystem of developers that actually is focused on building ecosystem use case and verticals. So this was all about why I think this is a strong kind of language to speak when we're speaking about different funneling, different target developers, and kind of different activations, right? Think about stuff even community calls, you can run ecosystem community call, and you can run product update community calls. You can run straight developer meetups, but you can also run more verticalized topic-focused developer meetups, even before deep diving in your product workshop, right? And I think that was very important from the Snaps perspective, because we kind of came back and we say, what are the top use case? That's why we are kind of proceeding with these categories that people want to build on top of that. Cool. I will recap a little bit right now. So we're all about permissionless innovation. We are aware about this paradigm shift, and I don't know if you guys were checking this Joe fireside chat yesterday, 2 days ago, I think. Was all about this kind of narrative. Build a vibrant community. I think for everybody here that have developer tooling or just want to build a better product, think this is something that you want to care and leverage these kind of frameworks. And most important, you want to be able to leverage those communities and build a much more standardized language so that people can build on top and kind of enabling themselves to build further the product, right? And I think this is also a big lesson learned. So that's a big part of the game that we are playing. And the goal is really that we all together, both developers in the space and users, we are trying to bring much more an active ecosystem, not just getting feedback in-house, but also giving instrument to the community to build on top of things. And I think this is also not just empowering builders in the space, but also you will see a lot of appreciation around users. And we see that a lot, but we definitely want to empower much more the community around this ecosystem. Cool. Yeah. Big thanks to DappCon and the whole Gnosis team. I think it's been amazing. And for anybody who has any question, feel free to ask. And yeah, thanks so much.
Yes, so we have time to take some questions. Do we have any DevRels in the audience?
Any DevRels, any Snaps builders?
Any Snaps users?
I think we're good.
I think, yeah. Thank you so much for your talk. And thank you for joining us.